Hi, everyone. Welcome back and happy Wednesday. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to start this day off with a positive rant because I got some that I want to get off my chest really quick. One, Pippa ate my hat and that really pisses me off. But we love Pippa, right? It's like having a petulant little jerk child that just tears up your stuff and then they smile at you like Puss in the Boots on Shrek. And then you're like, oh, she ate my Ray-Bans. She ate my prescription glasses. She ate my Visine. She ate my shoes. You know, that's okay. And then two, since this is a show about relationships and what those look like, my other complaint is I need a different bed because Jason and I cannot get this whole sleeping together thing right. It's he's on my side. He feels like he only gets a sliver. Both of us are wrong, but both of us are right. But at the end of the day, it's like it's affecting things, you know? So with that, guys, let's welcome Ashely and Imani from Taste of Reality because we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about the Valley. Let us know where you're watching in the live chat from and give us a rating 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. And let's go. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Top of the morning. That's my Shannon Bedore. I'm so sorry. I know that's offensive.
I had to give my my little morning rant.
Yeah, and as you should.
It felt really therapeutic, you know?
Get it off your chest. As a woman with 3 dogs, I totally understand the struggle. Like neither one of us have space. The dogs are everywhere. We need a makeover here.
Hey, shout out Florida in the house.
You know what's so funny is yesterday, so my mother-in-law used to, for like a long time, she worked at Saks, right? So she still gets this, she's retired now, but she still gets this discount. So yesterday, she took us shopping where we got to use the discount and Jason found a bunch of stuff and I did not, but that's okay. And then Jason put all of the bags in our bedroom. This morning we got to the gym and he's like, oh my God, I left Pippa out and I don't know if I closed the door. And I was like, Jesus Christ, there it goes. There it all goes, Pippa. But she didn't disappoint us today. So we're happy.
Good.
We're happy. Okay, guys. So we have
Pippa. Sorry about your hat though.
Yeah, okay. Let's take a moment.
I'll ask Leva for another one. It'll be fine. All right. So we have 8, 7, 7s. Guys, I'm actually curious. This might be an unpopular opinion, and this is how I'm going to lean into this. Well, everyone knows that I'm not a huge fan of Jax Taylor. I never have been, never will be. Last night, I needed that. I needed the Jax Taylor on the show. I was like, I actually don't know what the show is without Jax Taylor. For once, his words rang true of, this is my show. And I was like,
not his show.
This actually might be your show, dude. Because what happened? Like we had Dave and Buster's. We had a fake rumor. We had a shady little Danny. We had Kristen getting invited to a birthday. Like, yeah, you know we need the unhinged that is Jax Taylor.
I know Nia tore Danny's ass up when they got home. After he embarrassed her at Dave and Buster's, I know she collected him when they got home. I would hate to be Danny.
I feel like I have a totally unpopular opinion. Maybe the opposite opinion of Adam. I don't need a Jax Taylor. I don't need him on my screen. I love the show without it. Like I needed Sage after the last couple weeks. Like I was like dreading going in just because it's so like emotionally like there's a child involved.
Yeah.
I love the lightness. I am Janet when it comes to Dave and Buster's. Like I have never felt I haven't felt seen like that in a long time.
So I'm you felt seen because she had a birthday at Dave and Buster's?
I don't see judgment in your voice.
No, I'm just trying to understand, make sure that I'm hearing this correctly.
I'm screaming.
I'm in Vegas. We have 21 and up versions of Dave and Buster's. So I have the option of doing that. If I lived in a place where like Dave and Buster's, well, they're in LA. They could find it, but they wanted to stay in the Valley, which I appreciate.
But it wasn't the Valley, was it? Because like everybody kept making comments about how far it was. Like it's in Richmond or Riverside or something.
Yeah, they said it was the Valley, but I don't know how many. That's a good point. Good, well clocked.
Yeah, because I remember Jesse being like, I'm gonna have to take like a 2-hour Uber over to this random city or whatever.
Did you guys ever have? I think Imani,
Bridge. Okay.
but I don't know. Ashley, did you guys?
Northridge
boomers?
heard the earthquakes. Yeah.
Did you have boomers, Imani?
Did we have what?
Boomers?
Like,
Our
what is that?
parents?
No. It was like a Dave and
Oh,
Buster's.
no, we didn't. No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was like kind of like the same thing, but Dave and Buster's was, yeah, definitely. It's like on steroids. And I was never good enough to win all of the tickets in order to get all of the shit because you always want the big things. And that's an investment of your time and money. My parents were not good into that.
I hadn't really gone to a Dave and Buster's before, so I actually went for the first time, like for real, a couple months ago, back in November. It was like in a mall, and I'm not gonna lie, a spirit of competitiveness did take over me, and I'm quite good at arcade games, I've come to realize. So I received Janet for that. But going back to the Jax conversation, I really enjoyed last night's episode because it was I enjoyed it. However, after the fact, I was like, wait, Jax wasn't in this episode. Something did feel like it was missing. So I had that thought in retrospect, but when I was watching it, I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was a good, fun episode.
That's what you were missing.
Yes.
The self-promoting, egotistical, sociopathic narcissist that is Jax Taylor on our screens. You were missing it.
I don't know that I was missing him, but I will say his presence was like felt. His absence of presence. I don't know.
Yeah.
His absence was felt.
But
I enjoyed the episode though. I thought it was good. And I just absolutely love the fact that Michelle's over here crying in every single corner and Janet's just like, woo, hole in one. Yes.
It was art. I loved everything about this episode. I needed it to be fun after the last couple weeks. The petty boy drama, the text chain that they think the boys, men, are you okay? Do you think we don't no, you sleep in the room next to us. We have access to your phones.
Do you know, I actually have a big pet peeve about this, by the way, because I was talking about this with a friend last night, and my friend's husband always said, mind you, they're married and everything. Well, they were married. They're no longer married. But would always say, you don't deserve the access to my phone. You don't get to know my password, because sometimes when I'm frustrated, I want to be able to vent to the boys, and you don't need to see those conversations. So this is my private, whatever. But then also he would leave at 2:00 in the morning and go walk their dog and stuff. So I thought he was shady as hell. But I'm like, unless you're really unless you have something to hide and we don't, I feel like, why would you not have each other's passwords? I'm not saying oh, well, hand me your phone and let's go through it. But, I have Jason's password and I probably haven't seen the inside of his phone in a year. I
don't need to look at my husband's, but I could if I wanted to. And if there was something that's salacious about my friend, be doing sex work.
Oh, yeah.
I'd want to check that. I mean, not that it would be any of my business as long as it's consensual. I mean, pop off, queen, do you? But
yeah, I'm not that kind of girl. I feel that's our Facebook name would be Imani and Shia LaBeouf. That's not I'm not that brand of girl. But I think anytime you're dating somebody, or even if you have a close friend, I won't tell anyone, tells my best friend. I won't tell anyone.
Oh my, that drives me insane too. I've dropped friends like flies over that shit. Cause I'm no.
Oh, you don't like that?
No, well, I don't like it. It depends. If it's something silly, if Imani, if you came to me and you told me something and you said, Adam, please do not say anything, to the friend group or, Jason or Ashley, I would honor that. And I would not 100%. Say anything. But then, if you found out that I went and told everybody, you'd be like, you, Adam,
no,
I asked you. We're not on reality TV. But getting into that, speaking of which, with the boys chat, Jesse Lawley's accusation against Michelle technically is that Michelle was getting paid $1,500 a night by a billionaire to hook up, which this is quite the accusation.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It says
But
allegedly.
that's what he's saying though. And I'm like, I don't believe that at all.
No, I
Like,
don't believe it.
I don't think anybody does. I think, for lack of a better term, like almost like an analogy, if we may, like not even an analogy. That's not the word. Like he was fishing. He was like fishing for like to see who the gossip person was, the mole. And it was just something that was salacious enough to get people talking. I feel Jesse was looking to be messy Jesse. And
Jesse.
it went down exactly as he wanted. And Imani clocked it. You know that Danny went home and was reprimanded by his wife because keep your mouth closed, dude. Like literally,
the face of
stay
somebody
quiet.
who knows.
Yeah, Nia was like, "Ooh, that car ride," because she keeps it all together and composed because she's, poised that way. But once they got in that car, she ripped him a new one.
Oh, she definitely flipped out. And I didn't blame Michelle for walking up in that moment too and confronting Jesse and being like, you're like a horrible person and I'm going to now try to destroy you, because that is a huge, I mean, she didn't know the context. She didn't know that he was fishing. He didn't even try to really explain that a whole lot. But yeah. I would have been pissed. And he did say it was a joke, but I don't know that
I think Jesse had a really great recovery. I don't think he was planting that to see who leaked it. I don't think he had the foresight for that. I'm not giving him enough credit for that.
Fair point.
I feel like he was just lying because he is lying. He doesn't like Michelle. I think he was just trying to like cause confusion and cause a rumor and put it out there. I don't think he was doing it like, I'm going to plant this and let's see who the leak is. No, I think that was just a really good recovery. That's what I think. There's no way he was like planting a seed and trying to figure out who the mole was. Me and Jax are trying to, no, you got caught. Excellent recovery though. That's a really great recovery. I will agree. But I don't think he was doing that to find the mole. No effing way. In the guys chat, no effing way. You guys
with him saying, like this is another thing that I don't like is when people say, "Oh, I'm joking with you." I'm like, we're not friends. I'm not your friend to joke with. Joke with one of your friends. I'm not your friend. And I feel like in this moment, like with Jesse, oh, it was a joke. There's nothing about your relationship right now that like indicates that you guys are in a place to have ha he funny moments. You guys are like not there at all. In fact, you guys cannot stand each other. So your joke, unless you're just really truly, it just sounds like you are just, this is what? Do you know how stupid this sounds, Jesse? You messed up.
Do you guys think, by the way, I loved the beginning of the episode, not to go backwards, but when they were like trying to piece together who it was that Michelle was allegedly hooking up with in her marriage, and they were like, well, and the honey is right by Runyon Canyon, and Michelle was looking pretty when she went to Runyon Canyon. Who lives near Runyon Canyon? Aaron. And I'm just like, I love this.
I felt like the level of petty on the whole episode, top to bottom, was amazing. I loved the lightness of it. I thought it was so fun.
It was so stupid, but I'm just like this. I love this. Like Kristen's conspiring mind, and then Jesse, like just two dumb girls telling each other exactly.
It's funny too because Kristen loves like a game of Clue.
She does.
It's so true.
She loves, like, if you give her, she's like this. She's like, 100%. If you give her the chance to like kind of try to figure out the things and like you just give her a starting point. Like, I feel like she's like one of those people. It's like when people try to get rid of their dogs or something, like those just terrible people in life where they drive their dog like 10 miles down the road and drop it off at somebody's house and the dog finds its way home. I feel like Kristen, you just need to give her a starting point and she will figure it out. She's going to find things out.
Put Kristen Doty on the Traitors.
Oh, she would be great. Now. She would be great.
Right now. Casting at Peacock Evolution. Listen, if you've never listened before, we deserve Kristen Doty in a castle.
She would run that castle.
I do also, because love Kristen. Like I always say this, guys. I feel like I try to defend myself in this, like, love Kristen, have known Kristen for over a decade, friends with Kristen, great relationship. But when she went on and she was letting everybody know that Janet Caperna was a fan and that's how she met the group and yada yada. I think at this point, like that insult or those claims, they don't really land anymore in the Bravo world because anybody who joins the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Atlanta, Vanderpump Rules, like The Valley, technically you guys, you're aware of what these shows are. You are a fan. That's how you got involved in it. You know what I mean? So it's like, this isn't some like crazy insult. Yes, she was a fan who met you guys along with Brad X Brad, and you guys all became friends. What?
Not the Brad X Brad stray.
I'm just saying that's how it happened. They were fans who met them like season 1 and 2, and they met him out in the actually behind Sir in the parking lot, and that's how everybody met.
Okay,
where all the magic happens.
So I need that same playbook because there are a few Bravo Lebs that I want to be personal friends with, and so you know what, Janet, let me know how you did it because I want to know.
You know what's funny too? I thought it was interesting when I would go to the country club that Leva goes to, and I would go with our friend Lori, right? Lori and Leva are best friends. I'm just giving like a point to this. But you would have, it was so societal. It was interesting to watch, but you would have some of these Charleston women and they would walk past and, like, and pretend like they didn't know anything about the show or anything. And then, they would come up and be like, oh my God, I love your person, blah, blah, blah. What do you do? Oh my God, you're on a TV show. And it was just so try hard and you could read through it. Yeah. And the reason her and Lori became best friends was Lori was walking past and just said, oh my God, Leva, you're on Southern Charm. Hi, how are you? I just actually joined this club. She's like, nice to meet you. You're like the only person I've recognized so far. Like, I love the show. And she was so honest about it. And they became best friends because Leva was like, at least she was honest about it. Like it's on TV,
Can I go back to something that Kristen Doty said? Because she did go on the record, and you guys might not have heard this. It might have, there's so much that happens. Too much is happening sometimes. But she said the reason that came out, like the whole fan insult, was that like she called her a fan in the sense that the Janet she knows off camera is not the Janet who is on camera. She mentioned it. She compared it as to like, you put together season 1 Stassi, you put together season 5, I think she said, La Kent. And that's the person that you are on camera. And that's why I called her a fan. And when she put it that way, like it made sense. Like I'm not.
No, the context. I get that.
Still like, I'm not taking sides on this one. Just when she put it in that perspective, I was like, okay, well, that makes sense because if you're getting 2 different people, like I understand why she would say that. But to your point, like there's nothing wrong. Like you're on TV. I mean, like.
Yeah, I think Kristen backtracked a little bit because I think she did mean it how it hit the ear because someone mentioned in the chat, she did allegedly Janet sought out Sheena to be friends with to get into the group. So
of course, that's who you would.
And that's true. That's true.
I mentioned the other day, if you are wanting to penetrate that friend group, the first person you need to go to.
Penetrate. Of all words, I'm sorry. That friend group
but that's,
penetrate is so perfect, Imani.
Imani hit the nail on the head because when, like, especially when I met all of them, Stassi, it was like Stassi had the foresight to know, like, this was season 1. She was like, I'm about to be a bad bitch.
Correct.
I don't have time for any of you. And then you had Kristen and Katie who sort of followed suit with that energy. And like, it was interesting when I like first meeting all of them. And then Sheena was just like, like, I think that she was so outcasted by everybody when that show started that like, when you came in, anybody who was nice to her, she was like, hi.
Do you want to
like,
see my
video? I remember when she came up to me and asked me, she said, are you coming to my wedding? And I was like, I just got here. Like, I don't know. Am I coming to your wedding? And she's like, well, I was going to ask you if you would, stack chairs and like put chairs together with the tables. And I was like, no, girl, I am not going to your wedding.
The thing is, I do that.
And then she texted me later and she said, hey, great news. One of my guests canceled, so now I can invite you as a guest to my wedding.
You know what, Sheena?
But don't forget, you're going to be stacking chairs. Too.
No, I wasn't. I was no longer in charge of chair stacking, but I just thought, I remember thinking like, What?
She's
What
an
just happened?
audacious girl, and I respect that. She's audacious. She's going to just, she has no shame in her game, and I receive and I respect that. Good for her. Good for Shishu.
Just a reminder, yesterday they were rerunning Vanderpump Rules on Bravo, and I was watching the episode that Sheena and Shay got married.
Oh,
And Jax's confessional was like, this is the nicest wedding I've ever been to. It was also the only wedding he's ever been to. Like, a person our age, like, that's weird. But he's like, she spends all this money and there's no cleanup crew. Like, the next day, all the wedding guests had to go, like, clean up.
Yeah. 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 That was, I mean,
I
listen.
love it.
I mean, that could have been like tricks and editing, and I'm sure it was exaggerated, but I'm like, that's so Sheena.
I don't think that was exaggerated, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, because we really got recruited at Sir. We really did. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. Like, we as a collective, like she made her rounds to all, like, the bussers, the hosts, the everyone, and was like, do you want to come to my wedding? It's gonna be on camera. I need you to work. And there were a lot of people who were like, yes. And I was like, no.
She's a hustler. You know what? You miss 100% of the shots that you do not take, and Shishu is going to take her shot. And that's
mouth don't get fed, Imani.
Yes. And you know what? If she can save a little coin on cleanup and recruit all of you guys to
no, but like, come on, what the, you know,
no, kidding. Yeah.
I just like, looking back, it's so silly. But even if you asked her right now, she would totally sit there in her Kenya Moore confessional and double down and be like, yeah, I did that shit. And you want to know why I did it? Because I was on season 1 pay, and that's why I did it. And nobody like, she would tell you just straight up.
Yeah, we know they don't make a whole lot on those shows, especially the first few years. So get that coin.
Speaking of two things we just said, number one being a closed mouth doesn't get fed, and also speaking of weddings, I am looking for a Jason Caperna type. I love Jason Caperna. So if anybody out there has anyone in their lives that resembles Jason Caperna, that acts like Jason Caperna, that would drive your Jax Taylor in your life to a rehab, let me know, because I'm single and I'm looking for one. Thank you.
God,
see, like, Janet Caperna just like rush Imani at BravoCon or something and be like, stay away from my man.
No, by the way, I love Jason and Janet together. Their names go together. You can't write that in a book. I think they're destined. And
Jason is my husband and Janet is my mother-in-law. They really go together.
Yeah, my dad's name is Jason. Just saying.
Great name.
It's a great name. So I'm just saying, I don't want the Jason Caperna, but if he had a brother, a cousin, a dad, or
doppelganger,
you're asking for a Jason, but maybe you need a Jesse.
Nope. No, she does not. No.
Question for the chat, because Michelle said this in the group or on the show last night, and I forgot to put a story up because I wanted to know who is worse. Because Michelle says she has it worse than Brittany, which I want Brittany's opinion on that. Get Brittany on the phone. But who do you guys think is worse, chat? Jesse or Jax? Which one would you rather be married to? I'm going Jesse because he's cuter.
I feel like we know so much about Jax. We've had like literally over a decade of Jax and over a decade to like add to the scroll of reasons why he is a literal monster. I feel like while Jesse's book is growing, it's still a list, not a scroll. But obviously he is very frightening.
Well, you know, the thing about Jesse too is Jesse has this ability, and you watch him, there's never any accountability for Jesse. And I even watched the after show where, you know, him and Michelle were partners, right? And they had millions of dollars in the bank. And she said, you know, we got to the point where like, he's not paying me child support. He's not paying for things. I'm paying for these things. Yeah. And, you know, they shared the fact that he goes out there, he goes to Craig's all the time, and he doesn't have the kind of money that he's portraying that he has. And everybody was like, what happened to the money? And she said, Jesse spent it all. And Jesse stopped working and he spent the money. And Jesse's answer was so ridiculous. It was like, listen, she had access to those accounts. She knew the passwords. She had the account numbers. And like, you're just as responsible. You could have told me to stop spending. Like you could have told, and I'm like, fucking answer. It's her fault because she didn't regulate your grown ass self. Like, that doesn't make sense. If, like, if Jason goes and completely depletes our account and makes these crazy purchases and does whatever, that's not my fault.
Right.
Like, now we have to figure this out, but that is not, I did not do that, and I'm not taking responsibility for that. But then Jax, on the other hand, Jax is a go-getter and he's going to find a way to get a check, which I like somebody who's going to find a way to get a check. But then also he's going to buy a $3 million house and put holes in every fucking wall. So which one's worse? I don't know.
Can we talk about Jack's checks real fast? Just a quick side. Yeah, thank you. He's literally getting canceled as we speak. Like, people have written in to production companies that are like hosting his show, and one show by Wanderlust Productions or events company, they literally took down his show. Like, I think it was originally 12 shows. Now there are 8, I think. First one was canceled.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the whole Jersey Mike's thing all over again with what's her face? Already forgot about her, Jennifer Aiden. Very forgettable.
I guess my question is do you think that the whole tour will end up getting canceled, or is it going to be like James Kennedy, where he lost a certain level of like DJing gigs, but he didn't lose every DJing gig?
Here's why I don't. And I'm not saying people can't have conflicting opinions to us, but I will say, and one of my friends who watches and follows us can vouch for this. If you go against Jax, some of the women just go ape shit. Like, there are some die-hard Jax Taylor apologists who thinks Britney is the only person in the wrong. Jax is a victim of Britney, big bad Britney. And I've seen that all over our Facebook page. And Adam, your comments, when I like went back and like read some of the comments from like a couple shows ago, we were called every name but the child of God because we defended Britney. And so I think Jax will be fine, because there are some women who just think he is God's gift. And so Jax will always have, I don't get that mentality, but it's there.
I told you that, the aunt that I met from the DNA, whatever, literally named her kid after Jax, which I thought was like, so when you're, and this is not, love her, I'm not throwing shade, but I did, ask, I guess in my head, I don't even know if I actually verbally, it took me like 2 years to actually get her name right. So I was terrible. I'd be like, guys, meet my new aunt so-and-so. She'd be like, that's not my fucking name. Like, I'm so sorry. But she, like, when your kid grows up and is like, Mom, why did you name me this? Which is like my question. I was named after both of my grandfathers. What do you say? Oh, hold on. Let me tell you why I named you this. Once upon a time on Bravo, there was this man right here whose name is not even actually Jax. It's Jason.
Somebody said, I can't remember if I saw it on Twitter or if it was in your comment section, but like when Jax was like, I'm Jax Taylor and I'm an addict, they were like, he's a liar even still, because he should have said, I'm Jason Couchy and I'm an addict. Like, why couldn't you just say your real name? Why do you have to say Jax Taylor?
Because
I don't know.
Maybe Jason Couchy wasn't an addict. But maybe this alter.
Maybe we're all Jax Taylor in a way.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, I'm kidding.
Looking at Marianne's comment, Marianne, yes, he took his character. The name is from All My Children. My sister and I were actually named after a soap opera star too, Elizabeth Ashley. My sister's Elizabeth. Yeah. My mom like tells me I'm dramatic, and I'm like, you literally named me after a soap opera actress.
Yeah. And my thing
what do you want?
Is I feel like most of the people that are having issues with our takes, or people who find Jax's behavior bad, are mostly women, and that breaks my heart. But if you think his behavior is fine, girl, if you like it, I love it. I would never accept that over here in the Imani household, but if you want to accept that in your life, go for it, girl. More Jax for you. I'm all set. So
you know what's so wild though? Sometimes you see some of the guys who are just so lovable and like so nice, and they kind of get put to the side, right? Like Tom Schwartz for like the first 2 seasons really was put to the side, and he's just like, he's like a big golden retriever. Like he's just a teddy bear. He's like, hi, wow, thank you. Love you too. My God, give me a hug. Like Ashely knows, she just saw him. And he's just so nice and great to everybody and happy. And then you have somebody like James Kennedy, who, no offense to you, James, but James, like he really, it's like you are fueling his tank when you tell him how great he is, how amazing he is, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yes, you're gassing him up and you think you're doing something. And then he's going to bite your fucking head off and he's going to rip you apart. He's going to verbally eviscerate you and everybody else around. He's going to tell everybody to go F themselves. And then you see how like really, how just put on a pedestal that is. And it's not just by women, or, you know, like the men, it's also by the network. It's just sort of like this habit of rewarding and acknowledging really shitty behavior.
Yeah.
My God. I told you guys therapy's working. I told you.
Therapy is working. It's so funny. So I was reading the chat about like how some people do get their children's names. Like, for example, I mentioned before, I absolutely love Hayden Panettiere. On my baby name list, Hayden is at the top. I'm not saying I'm naming her in like Hayden Panettiere's honor, but like it's funny. I have one of my good friends. I'm a big One Tree Hill fan, and her daughter's name is Sawyer from Peyton Sawyer, and her son's name is Tanner Nathan, and Nathan Scott is one of them. So I think it's funny. People do name their children off of like people from shows. I think it's cute, but I wouldn't do it for Jax.
There were little girls running around with the name Khaleesi, just saying.
That's so funny.
That's actually my mom, when she found out, she was told that she was going to have a baby girl, which was me. And then I came out as a baby boy. My brothers always made fun of me and they're like, Mom got the daughter she always wanted. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Those are assholes. But
LOL.
When I was born a boy, which I still am a boy, my dad was like, wow, we didn't see this one coming. Let's name him after me, which my dad's name is Derek. Let's name him Derek Jr. And my mom's eyes were black from like going through the process of like giving birth to me. She was so tired. She was over it. She was probably asking for like a vodka soda. And she was like, get the f- away from me with that stupid name.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you, Mom, for not naming me Derek. I appreciate, no offense to any Dereks out there.
No offense to Derek.
I am an Adam.
You're Adam. Sure.
I'm not a Derek. You know, Dereks are Dereks, and I'm not a Derek.
You're definitely
okay. Back to it. So now, Jax Taylor, obviously, we're acknowledging the whole rehab journey, and Brittany, you know, she was saying that she really supports his decision to get help, and that she also feels like sort of, I think, a reprieve and a relief where she's like, I don't have to deal with you for a while, hopefully 30 days. Had it not, I mean, I think we can all agree, had it not have been for NBC and Alex Baskin and Evolution stepping in and saying, if you don't go, then we are firing you from the show, he wouldn't have went.
Do you think that was the ultimatum? Because I saw that narrative that Brittany essentially was saying, Bravo's going to fire you if you don't go right now.
I'm actually I'm like 95% sure there was a massive ultimatum of like, I think that, you know, what's funny is, like you said the other day, just to give you an example, you said, why did they show the Brady stuff? Why did they show the Kenya stuff? That did not need to make the edit. And it's like, that's a good point. But then for Jax and Brittany, I think that there's a lot of things that have not made the edit. I think there are a lot of like moments of like really, really crazy abuse in however people want to interpret that. And I think that could be physical, mental, like all of the things. And I think that they reviewed that footage and producers probably gave cause for pause, or Brittany made a phone call, or the cast made a phone call, because they always, after filming, when they're getting unmiked and stuff, when they're filming like Brittany and Jax in the house, there's like producer crew A or B or whatever, and there's like 6 or 7 of them inside of another room with all of their laptops, all of the equipment, all of the cords that are all set out. And then after they're done filming the scene and they're like, we're done, then they start unmiking you and they start like talking to you and they're like, how do you feel about what just happened? Like, what are your thoughts? And, you know, I'm thinking that there were bigger conversations that happened and they did not show us the full level of violence that occurred.
Do you think that Bravo in a way could be held liable? Like that's what I wonder. Cause like,
what?
I wonder if Jax ever took it even further than he did with Brittany, and by the way, guys, trigger warning for this conversation. I feel like the Valley should have put that on some of those episodes when Brittany was detailing what happened with her with Jax. I'm shocked they didn't at the top of the episode, but I'm curious if like Bravo could be held liable if Brittany's like, if he doesn't go to rehab right now after like throwing a table, like I don't like, this is on you guys.
And they left, he never came out and said he had an addict without her saying that he does the pasta.
Yeah.
So we weren't getting the truth from him. He was forced to tell the truth. And I don't believe there was anything not performative about anything he's done. I think he's constantly trying to like front load the damage he's done to make himself not look like the horrendous human being he is.
Yeah.
But think about, I get what both of you were saying, but then also think about like, you know, we've never seen Brittany with a black eye or, you know, like she's never shared a physical abuse. She shared how like aggressive and crazy the situations got. But Taylor Armstrong came on in the early days of Beverly Hills and she shared and showed, you know, like these physical things that were happening to her. And, you know, they still continued to film him. They still put him on the show. And then I don't think, obviously it wasn't because of Bravo, or I don't know what was going through his mind, clearly a lot, the business practices, but this man took his own life. So, you know, like, were you guys like, you know, like, why would you continue to put somebody on camera like that? Why? But then you would have to go, that wouldn't just be Bravo, because think about TLC,
right? Think
about Mob Wives. Think about like a Zeus network. Holy shit.
Oh my God, Zeus. Yeah.
It's like, you know,
like there's out the wazoo, I'm sure.
Do things go differently though when there's known pasta being used? Like when there is a known controlled substance? I think that crosses any kind of boundary because that is, I mean, obviously illegal. And they're in California. It's not like they're sitting around smoking joints. During pasta is a very different story.
So I'm not going to tell you guys what production on here, but I do want to say it's interesting to me because behind the scenes when they were filming a show over the last 10 years that I saw behind the scenes of, I saw the producers where they were talking about like a lot of the producers when they come out to whether it's LA or any of the different cities, you know, they stay in the same hotels. They kind of like they go away from their families. So they drink and party after and do things. And then they try to get the cast to go out with them. And they go hard, like hard. And they go hard all together. It's like the producers, it's not that like, oh, well, I am your therapist. I cannot go out and drink with you. It's like, no, they will party their asses off with you. And I don't think that they would tell on the cast members. Like if Jax came in and he was like, you know, like, you know, whatever, they're not going to sit there and be like, we need to report you right now. They're probably going to be like, dude, get this shit together. Like, we'll go out tonight. Like, get it together.
At the beginning, right? But until it starts to affect Brittany and their son, like,
that's a moral thing, you know. Like, it's kind of like laws, right? Like laws are meant to keep honest people honest. But if you don't care, you know, if you don't have like a moral compass,
good point. Yeah.
You know?
Well, we've learned that over the 10 years of knowing him, because at the beginning, Adam, I would have given them that grace too. But by now it's like, it's Jax.
Well, I think it brings up a broader conversation too, because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about like all the like moments that could have gone worse. For example, do you guys remember with Apollo and Phaedra back in Atlanta when he went into her garage? Like I remember,
get away from me.
Yeah. And I remember Andy saying that the people on site, like the videographers or whatever, like they were scared that like Apollo was going to do something. And it's like, I don't know what you do in those situations. It's like, stop filming, but also like it's content.
Right.
It
reminds me, do you guys, I don't know if you watch Below Deck, but on the original Below Deck, there was a guy who the rope actually caught his leg, dragged him into the ocean. If the cameraman wouldn't have literally dropped his camera and dove in and saved him, he could have died.
Yeah. Can you imagine you just sit there and you keep recording and you're like, there you go.
Exactly.
No. But also too, you guys, you know, just for not you guys, but just for the live chat, to remember, a lot of these people, it's like they're 1099. They don't know where their next job is, you know. So you hope that you do a great job on, like, you know, one of the original producers for Vanderpump Rules, her name was Sun. and she ended up leaving the show. I don't know for what reason. And then we got Jeremiah, who I think was there as like not the main producer, but quickly became the main producer. And people's jobs shift and you're kind of chasing the next paycheck. So you want these jobs to succeed and you kind of don't want to sabotage them in a weird way. So I think that sometimes maybe you also might have producers who are selfishly like, look, dude, you might have a pasta problem and you might be fighting with your wife. Maybe you're hitting her. Maybe you're screaming. I don't know what you're doing, but I need to pay my mortgage and I need to put food on the table for my kids. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut and I'm just going to record you. But like, I'm not saying that's right, but I'm saying this probably does exist.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but all right. So like you guys said, this is what happened. Like you guys said, Janet Caperna, she ended up having her birthday at Dave & Buster's and she invited Kristen Doty. So maybe we're going to have a moment where we can get these two back together.
Wait, question, guys. What do you think about Janet now wanting to be friends with Kristen? Because she was very much so like, if I never spoke to Kristen again, it'd be too soon. And now she's like really, really going out of her way to include Kristen in the dynamic.
I think producers talked to her and told her she needs to.
I think she's smart enough to understand that she needs to keep the show going. And I think she's admittedly a Bravo fan. Again, we had this conversation earlier. I think most people going into these shows know how it works. She probably saw exactly what happened with Jersey and the two shows not working and said, hey, you know what? We can't go into this dynamic. I've got to pave the way. And again, another reason Dave Buster's is like the greatest place on earth. If you have an awkward relationship, play games with them at Dave & Buster's. You don't have to talk about anything. Like, it's great team building. I think it was smart.
I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think that she absolutely knows what works and what doesn't. And I think that she got the best coaches in the game, not only from being able to watch how Vanderpump Rules was being filmed and watch how the dynamics were being formed and how they navigated conflict resolution. She really has had an upfront seat, a front row seat at all of this before even coming on, which it's kind of like Gia, and Riley. I'm curious to see like what energy that they bring. Like I saw this morning, guys, you can go to tasteofreality.com. Gia talked about how and I didn't agree with this. I actually thought that it was a little petty on Riley's end, unless somebody can change my perspective. But Gia understands that you need to find a common ground when you introduce yourself to the other castmates, and you need to find something like, oh my God, you're a Taurus too? I'm a Taurus. Wow. Like you need to find something, you know what I mean? And it's like, but you know what I'm saying? Like you got to find something. And she was like I feel like both of our moms are housewives and they have the same energy. And Riley also knows what the hell is going on. And she's like, no, they don't. And Riley's like, can you imagine? And she's being coached too by her mom. They're both being coached. Sure. Riley's like, I'm going to fight with Teresa Giudice's daughter. Storyline. Like they're all smart. Because they've seen it.
And they're mom.
You bring in somebody new and they don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Riley's POV is like, my mom is a Grammy winner, a singer-songwriter. She won the Masked Singer. She makes bank. This woman gets paid for talent. Meanwhile, your mother...
Yeah.
I think it was more of what we do in my family is not what you do in your family. That's how I saw that coming from Riley.
Okay, so that's what I meant by change my perspective. Now
that's how I took it.
Then I could understand like if somebody
reaction.
Yeah, if somebody came up to me and they're like, oh, Adam, like my dad's like your dad. My dad works 80 hours a week. He busts his ass. He's always doing overtime and he climbs telephone poles and he's always just out in the heat, sweating his ass off. Now, if somebody else came up to me and their dad just got out of prison after 12 years for some sort of fraud, and they're like, our dads are very similar, I'd be like, no,
they're not.
They're not similar, actually.
I see both sides.
I see it.
I see both sides because obviously, like, you cannot compare Teresa Giudice and Candy Burris at all. There's literally no comparison outside of they're both on Bravo with Love. But I
I'm sorry.
I get
With
where
love, that's the bless her heart for the moment.
Yeah, but I get where Gia's coming from. It's like, oh my God, like there is a bond, I'm sure, amongst the house daughters in general, no matter the franchise. Like you have no idea what it's like for your mom to be on a Real Housewives franchise. I'm sure at baseline that can be a bonder. So I get Gia's perspective there, but I also get Riley where like, her mom's like, okay, Riley, this is what you need to do. I'm sure Teresa did the same thing for Gia. Teresa coaches her daughters all the time. If you ever catch any of them on social media. So I get both sides. So I think, I don't know, it's instant drama to your point, Adam.
Yeah.
I actually, you know what? I got more excited for Next Gen NYC seeing that.
I'm a bond.
That I have, and we were saying how we're just not the target audience. I have to say one thing about Next Gen NYC. I see Ariana Bierman so clearly in that scene in New York City where she's getting into the subway and just starts having a panic attack because of so many people and it's just so much stimuli. Like, I don't have any kind of like social anxiety, but I just don't like being in crowded spaces. So like, I know that was just like a part, but I know like she's open about her anxiety. And that's one thing that I'm like, you know what? I'm interested in her story. And then this got me excited with Riley and Gia, I have to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I needed something to get excited about anyways. So
yeah.
Thank you, Gia. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Well, I think for the most part, though, for this week's episode, you guys, we covered the Valley, but just for all of you guys in the live chat too, clearly we know that there's a lot more cameos to come. We're going to get some Brock, some Sheena, some Lala. I think we're going to get a lot more Jasmine, and obviously her partner.
Yeah.
A lot is going to be coming, so we're going to keep our eyes open. I also said to you guys, if you missed it and you're just watching it now, I'm leaving on Friday. I am going on a wellness trip, so I'll be gone until Tuesday, but I'll be recording and working the whole time. So even though you're supposed to meditate, I'll be meditating with Bravo. That is my meditation. That's my meditation.
Preach.
So I won't be doing lives, guys, Friday to Tuesday, but we will be back next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So thank you. And then, of course, because a guy's got to go get his eyebrows done for a trip, okay? So if you guys don't know, the girls are going to let you know where you can
I answer a question in the chat real fast?
Yeah.
Math just asked, how do they film at SUR when it's busy with customers? I was just at SUR this weekend and they weren't filming when I was there, but they'll like close off sections to where they have like certain sections set up with cameras to where you don't see the cameras, but you can like still wait the tables. Like it's all set up in advance. So it's just areas of the restaurant that are closed.
To further prove Imani's point of producers had to have known that Kenya came in and had boards because everything is done in advance, just like Ashely said. And the only thing that's different when they film in SUR, you guys, or any of the restaurants, is Lisa is a stickler for ambiance. So the lighting always has to be correct and the music has to be correct, but they have to change all of that for filming. But they will film happily around all of the guests and just make you sign waivers saying that if you appear on TV, you cannot sue us. Yep. But back to Taste of Reality.
Okay, there's so much drama. I mean, Bravo and Beyond. We covered the Riley and Gia. Oh, we were talking about Love Hotel the other day. I only have like 10 minutes left. I have to say, I love Love Hotel.
I watched it last night, by the way. I like it.
What did you think?
It's cute. I get Adam's point. It's like, it's gimmicky, whatever. They're not meeting their husbands, but like, it's cute for what it is. And it's a cute show.
I think that's what it's cute for what it is.
As somebody who's a fan of The Bachelor, I don't like Bachelor and Bachelorette because they just take themselves too seriously, exactly. And I think it's dumb. But like Bachelor in Paradise and now we have Love Hotel, I think they lean into the campiness.
Agreed.
And the fact that this is ridiculous. I think Joel Kim Booster is a fan of Housewives, like all the references. I think he is a deep fan of the show and tried to like be a housewife with the whole Shannon Bedore thing, and it didn't land. Yeah. Much like me getting called out at the Comedy Store this weekend by like one of the comedians said something and I tried to be funny back and I wasn't funny. And I was like, this is when you leave the comedy to the comedians. Like I kind of feel it was like among that level. But yeah, Love Hotel, I loved it. I think it is so fun and so cheesy. And the one thing, Ashley Darby, Imani, you made me think about this. She should have admitted that she was dating that guy, Tom. What's his name?
His name's Josh.
Oh, Josh, but the lookalike.
Jack Harlow.
Yeah, the Jack Harlow guy. If she would have just said, I just started dating this guy, then I got this opportunity to find love here. He's, going to be dating while I'm away. If we find ourselves back to each other, one thing, but if I meet that person there, whatever. She comes back and she starts dating Jack Harlow again. I would have preferred that than her saying she's single going in.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
they even showed him and Ashely from Potomac. She was like, yeah, I dated earlier this year. I'm like, but Ashely, baby, you're still dating him. You might not be boyfriend and girlfriend, but you guys are very much still actively seeing each other.
They should have acknowledged that. I really think that was a flop on their part. Just be honest. And they liked it. They had just started. I don't think there's anything wrong. No. If you're not exclusive, you just started dating, you go and you're like, hey, if something works here, good knowing you, best of luck.
And
I'm starting a dating show.
Isn't there a saying that if you're not married, you're single?
Yes.
Or is that just what my mom said?
If your mom's right, I think.
I don't know if that would have worked for me if I would have been like, Jason, I'm not married. He'd be like, we've been together for 8 years at that point.
I'm kidding.
We got married. And I'd be like, I'm not married. I'm single. You'd be like, get out of my house.
Exactly. But it's a cute show. So there's room for improvement for sure.
Yes. Yes.
But
and also you guys can, for those of you guys who are listening, Adam's family in the live chat, you also can join the conversation and on Taste of Reality in their live discussions, because as you can see, Love Hotel had over 291 comments where you can just click on what they have going on and you can scroll down and see and engage in all of the comments, which I think is so much fun. And then
it takes 2 seconds to create an account. I know that's annoying when you're like, ugh, I have to create an account. But guys, it takes 2 seconds and it's for a lifetime.
Don't be lazy.
Don't be lazy. It's a lifetime of joy to be able to comment and engage with us. It takes 2 seconds. Ashely and I have accounts, so we like to gab on there too. But this is our Instagram page. We are taste_of_reality.
Money.
Oh my God, I had to, and because that was literally them last, Janet, the world is burning. Janet is playing skee ball.
She's like, bye.
Yeah,
she's counting tickets.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, this is our page. We Ashely posted some photos from her Luann show she went to.
Including you have to scroll. Guys, go there and scroll because there's a picture of my mom in the back alley of Sir on the Luann post. I died.
It's on the Luann post. But yeah.
Because if you don't make your mom sit in the back alley of Sir, is she even having the full experience?
Exactly. We love Vicky. So guys,
my mom puked in the Sir parking lot.
That's iconic.
All happening at Sir. But yeah, if you guys would do us a favor and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, check out our website. We make a bulk of our money from our website. So apologies for the ads and the spam as you're trying to read. It's so annoying, but it allows us to be able to possibly make a career and a life for ourselves from this. And that's the goal and that's the dream. So we appreciate all of you guys for supporting us. It means the world.
And also, guys, don't forget that it really is, it's all free. You just go on, you see the ads, it's fine. But also it's what you're looking for when you're working your 9-to-5s, or maybe you're staying at home and you want your tea and you want to know what's going on behind the scenes. And you got people who are doing it. All you got to do is just click past a pop-up or just go past an ad or just sign up so you can join. Still all free. So
all the things are free.
All the things are free. Now, with that, guys, we're going to go get our eyebrows did. So I'm going to pop off here, but thank you to Ashely and Imani. Make sure you guys smash the like button and show some love. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Go check out tasteofreality.com. Also, make sure to check out their Instagram and their TikTok. Lots of fun things, a lot of discussions, and a lot of short form content, but also just really in the now what's happening. So just make sure that you stay up to date. Nobody wants to be the last one to know. So we love you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.